Okay. Hi, Felicia. She just got knocked off. I don't know what happened there. All right. Just I wanted to talk today about men's health and all the women who are married or who have significant others. I think, you should be understanding the benefits of a healthy lifestyle and getting to your close to ideal weight anyway. So yeah, this is an issue. It's an issue for men as well. And I'm going to share my screen and talk about how important it is for men to get in good shape. Trying to get this thing to share. Okay, I have two people on that I have to let in. Asia, Felicia's back. All right, guys. So we are talking about sexual wellness in men. And it's important that you understand that men, we go through a menopause, but we call it andropause, right? Asia, I'm going to ask you to mute, please. Do you have any questions about the program for the people who are on that I can answer? I just want to know how it's going for you. There's really 3 participants on here, 4 participants. Is it going okay for you, Felicia?
Yes, it is.
Good. You have any questions for me?
No questions. I'm good.
Good. And Gwen, do you have any questions? Or did she get kicked off again? She's still there. And Asia, you guys can unmute if you have something to say. Just let me know. But today we're going to talk about your significant other, most likely, your father, your brother, your husband, your son, and what happens to them as they age. I'm going to talk about what male andropause is, and I'm going to talk about what happens to a man with his hormones as he ages. And I'm going to talk about the most important hormone in the body for a man, which is testosterone, and how it works with the heart, the prostate, and how it can contribute and protect the body against heart disease. And then one of the things that we do here at ANWAN Regenerative Center is to do testosterone replacement. So when a young man is going through puberty, say it starts at around age 9, 10, 11, 12, the androgens first start to come out at that point. And that's what defines masculinity. These hormones cause hair growth. It causes the testicles to enlarge, muscle growth, the voice gets a little deeper, and then the testicle starts to produce sperm. The hormone that's the principal hormone that makes us men is called testosterone, but then there are others that are made also called androstenedione and DHEA. So here are all the full spectrum of all the male hormones. FSH and LH are produced in the brain, and it stimulates the testicles to make hormones. That's the key. We don't need a lot of estrogen as a man because that's a female hormone. And when you have a lot of estrogen, you become feminized. And what condition do you think produces estrogen in men? What we're trying to combat here today with this weight loss program, obesity. the more body fat a man has, is the more conversion of testosterone to estrogen will happen. So being leaner or carrying a certain percent, no more than 24% of your body weight in fat, protects the estrogen from going up. Okay, now 5% of the testosterone turns into this DHT. Now, DHT is a hormone that has a lot of bad connotations to it because it causes male pattern baldness. And that as a man gets older, you'll see that he'll either bald from the front or he'll bald from the back. The higher this hormone is the more likely they will bald. It also causes the prostate to swell. And most men, as they get in their 50s and 60s, 70s, they'll have problems with urinating. They'll get up at night. It's called nocturia. And that's because the prostate will swell. DHT is also a culprit in contributing to the swelling of the prostate. So this is not for the chemistry majors. This is not for you guys. It's just to show you that all these hormones come from cholesterol. So is cholesterol a bad thing? And I want you to know it's not a bad thing, because you couldn't form aldosterone, cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, or any of the estrogens if we didn't have cholesterol. So one of the problems with putting people on statins is that it lowers this LDL cholesterol too much, and then all these hormones are low, produces a lot of problem in women and men. Okay. So we call andropause male menopause. It usually starts somewhere around 40 when the hormones start to go down. And this is some of the physical characteristics that happen. Abdominal fat. You see a man start putting on some fat around the belly. He'll lose muscle mass, which is called sarcopenia. He becomes a little bit, more frail. He doesn't feel as well as he did when he was, say, 25, 30, 35, and now he's in his 45, 50. It's just not as vibrant. Depression sometimes can come into place, become a little grumpy, and their sex drive goes down, and then they start getting erectile dysfunction, which is the inability or the loss of firmness to the penile tissue. So most men will just consider that, well, I'm just getting old, and yeah, I'm 45 and I'm having ED, and they just accept it as this is just a season of life. And, this is not what I believe as an anti-aging specialist. We need to do something about it. So here's what we need to do. So just to tell you more what happens to a man as he gets a little older, it's the onset. It's not like women, where women get, oh my God, I get hot flashes, right? And I'm having night sweats, and I know I feel different. In a man, when he gets his menopause, it's a slower onset, right? But it's just as severe because his testosterone is dropping. And because of that, it causes aging of the heart, the brain, loses his drive, his competitive edge. He starts getting some soreness and pain in his muscles. He gets a little fatigue, irritability. He loses some of his muscle mass, his bone mass. There's nothing good about going through this change. But men, the thing I want you ladies to understand, because I think there's one or two men on the call, is that men, we feel it. We may not be able to articulate it, but we know when our testosterone is low. And all it requires is for them to go and get their checkup and ask, the doctors that are more preventative in mindset, they will do a testosterone level. Typically, the complaint is a sexual complaint. Well, I'm having problems in the bedroom, doc, or I'm just not, I lost my drive. And the astute physician will order hormone levels and check to see what is going on. So, low testosterone is more common now than ever before. Why? Because we're living in a toxic environment. They tested men 50 to 70 years old back in the 1960s or 70s, and they realized that those men at 50 to 70 had much higher testosterone levels than men now that are even younger. So what is going on in the environment? We have cell phones, we have cell towers, we have computer screens, we have these big mainframe computers. We have a lot of toxicity in the air, more pollution. And this is affecting our bodies. So you have to be astute to understand that we're living in a toxic environment, and there are things, the testicles is outside the body. It should be kept cooler than the rest of the body. That's why it's outside the body. And it's exposed to the environmental elements. And that is why we are getting now more and more men with low T or andropause at even an earlier age. I'm treating a guy who's 28 years old. He's got a very low testosterone. So it's not at all uncommon anymore. So andropause is lethal because when you get it, it sets you up for diabetes, for brain dysfunction, for heart disease, for fractures, and increase your risk of cancer. So men with low levels had an 88% increase rate of death if your levels are lower than, say, 400. We need testosterone as men to be men. But the symptoms are correctable, right? So these are the common symptoms: depression, fatigue, belly fat, mood and cognition problems, drop in their sex drive, erectile dysfunction, the prostate enlargement, and then heart disease. So if you go to a regular doctor, they're going to say, oh, you're just depressed. Here's some Prozac or Paxil. Your prostate is swollen. They say, oh, well, take this Flomax, take this Tamsulosin. You develop heart disease. They give you heart medicines and blood pressure medicine, and not looking to see, well, what is going on? Is this hormonal? I think I do testosterone level on every man who comes to see me over the age of 40, whether they have a complaint or not about it, because it's that common. So now estrogen in a man is not good. We don't want a lot of it. We want some, because if you think of estrogen as a hormone that you need to be a little calmer, to be more sensitive, but you don't want too much of it. Who wants a overly sensitive man, right? I mean, most women don't. They want their man to be a little bit tougher, with more thick skin. You go to weddings, do you want him crying? Maybe. If you go to a movie, you watch a soft movie, do you want him crying? I don't know. If you yell at him, do you want him crying? I don't know. Depends on how you treat your men. But estrogen makes men more sensitive. So we want to keep that level down. And what happens with body fat, the body fat will turn the testosterone into estrogen, right? There's an enzyme called aromatase that converts it. So we want to block that enzyme. And there's several herbs that do that. Nettle root is one, saw palmetto is another. So we really don't want high estrogen level. Talks about all the things here, what estrogen does in a man. Now, women need estrogen. Men need just a little bit to have some sensitivity, but we don't want the level. And I'm going to give you a number. It shouldn't be over 30. Okay. Zinc, that metal, which is good for your immune system, blocks estrogen. Chrysin, an herb, blocks estrogen. And then the pill that I give everybody who I put on testosterone is anastrozole, and that blocks estrogen. So if we did nothing at all, I want you to look at most men who are not on an anti-aging program as they age. Are they more sensitive? Do they have less muscle mass? Do they have more abdominal fat? Ask yourself that. And you'll see, yeah, that's a part of the aging process. We become more feminized as we age because our testosterone level drops and our estrogen level goes up. I'm going to stop there. Does anybody have any questions about that? Because that's a powerful statement. Sharon Lewis is on. Hi, Sharon. I'm glad you made it. William is here. Gwen, Dion. So we're back up to a few patients, 9. But I'm saying some powerful things. Have you heard this before? Have you heard that hormones drop in a man as he get over 40? Anybody?
No,
Okay,
No,
so
I've never heard that. It's not that much focus on when a man ages or gets over a certain age. It's always things you hear about when a woman ages and gets over a certain age, the things to come, but you rarely hear about men. It's happening, but I guess they not, being diagnosed or forthcoming with the information, but it's always us. It's never them.
that's the pride thing. Sometimes the
Absolutely.
woman is the last to know. They'll come in and they'll ask for the blue pill.
Absolutely.
Well, I hear it a lot naturopathically that there can be an issue. The women are coming into the office undersexed, and so that leads into conversations related to well, what's going on? Are you being intimate? How's things going? And so it's very sensitive that my women complain, that they don't know the approach. They don't know how to motivate. And in a lot of situations, they feel as though the man has given up on aspects of their own wellness and sexual health.
Yeah, and the blue pill is just a fix for a time being, because that doesn't increase the testosterone level. What it does, it increases the circulation to the penis. It causes the blood vessels to open up so they get blood flow so they can perform. And then that only lasts for so long, because after a while you develop tolerance to that and it doesn't work as well. So the bottom line is that you have to do the things in life that that's going to keep your testosterone up, keep your body fat low, because a lot of this is just an increase in body fat that happens to us when we hit our 40s, 50s, and 60s. So obesity and extra weight contributes to all of this because it lowers your testosterone. Direct effect. My dad, he's bless his heart, he's 92 now. I remember when he was in his 30s, he was a bus driver. And he would come home and, work 2 jobs sometimes. And my mom would give him this big plate of food and, we would sit around the table and, we'd get maybe a quarter of what he was eating. And so he got this big belly. We used to call him, the big belly man. And he, he developed a lot of issues, pertaining to sexuality and his performance when you have that gut. So it's important for us to maintain our flatness in our gut. We don't want big bellies. We want to reduce our belly fat because it's not good for us. It messes with our hormonal levels. Okay. So yeah, it does happen to us. You'll never find a man who's more than willing to go out there and tell people, oh yeah, I'm having these issues. They'll tell you to the doctor, but they won't say it much to many people. But it does happen. It's not going to be like, oh my God, I'm having hot flashes, fanning myself, and it ain't going to be like that. They're not going to do that. It's subtle. And when you check their levels, bam, see where they're at. Dr. Ote, nice of you to join us.
Hi,
You're good, huh?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there.
All right, we're waiting for you to come back and be that dermatologist we know you are.
I'm coming real soon,
All
real
right,
soon.
great. We're talking about men's wellness and sexual wellness in particular. So let me
Okay.
get back to that. I just took a break to see if anyone had any questions. So I talked about the sexual part, but there are other things that low testosterone and contributes to. There was a study, I mentioned that in 2006, they found that men with low testosterone had an 88% increase rate of death, published in Archives of Internal Medicine in August 2006. They were at higher risk for diabetes, for heart disease, fractures, and cancer. Yeah, you didn't think testosterone was that important, did you? Uh-huh. All right, so here's what testosterone does. It helps. It's not only just a sex hormone, and I always gotta tell people, this is not about sex. It's about you as a human being, a man. You have more testosterone receptors. Yes, testosterone is produced in the testicles. But the brain tells the testicles, go ahead and make testosterone. The receptors are mostly in the brain. They're in the heart, so they strengthen your heart. They're in the muscle to build muscle. They're in the red blood cells and the nerve. So when you have testosterone, free testosterone, it hits all of these things and stimulates them. So, it's considered, you can't even take testosterone if you're in sports, because it's considered what? It's considered a performance enhancing drug. But if your body is naturally making it, which it should, when you're in your 20s and, teenagers, 20s, 30s, and then it starts going down when you hit 40, 50 even lower, 60 lower, and it keeps going down every decade, it goes lower. So anti-aging doctor, we try to get your level back up to the point where you were like, say, 35. So you're functioning as a 35-year-old, even at the age of 60 or 70. Anti-aging with no side effects, none. We give you the same thing that you used to make, you're no longer making. It improves the oxygen uptake, it helps to control your blood sugar, regulates your cholesterol, it strengthens your immune system, it helps your bone density. You should be convinced that testosterone is needed if it's low. Now, I can tell you 10% of the men that I will check who are like in their 50s, 10% will have a normal testosterone level. Is that genetic? I don't know, maybe they're just immune to the factors that are out there. And these men are usually in shape in their 50s and 60s. They're not obese. I can practically tell you every obese man will have low T if they're over the age of 50. Okay? And in particular, their gut fat, belly fat. That's the one that's really, really of importance. Visceral fat, belly fat. All right, so we know about libido. I'll talk about it briefly. You need testosterone to have a strong sex drive. If it's low, you're not going to have desire. You're not going to have good sensation. You're not going to have fulfillment. If you're not stimulating with your testicles, they will get smaller. So testicular size will shrink, the testicle, otherwise known as BALLS, but they're called testicles. We all should know that. We know we have a lot of receptors for testosterone in the pelvic region for men and women, but we're not talking about women. So we want to make sure that we keep testosterone. We don't want it to change to estrogen. We don't want it to change to DHT, which causes the baldness I told you about before. On the prostate, what does it do? Most men with benign swelling of the prostate have low testosterone. Testosterone does not cause cancer in men, but if you have cancer, since it builds everything up, it will cause the cancer to grow. 21 out of 25 studies confirm that testosterone does not cause cancer in prostate. So I don't want anybody telling me, well, yeah, I'm afraid to take testosterone because it's going to cause prostate cancer. No, if you have prostate cancer and take testosterone, it'll cause you a problem. For sure, because it's a growth hormone, so it will make it grow. That's why everybody who gets checked for testosterone replacement, we check their PSA level, we do a digital rectal exam, we make sure they're free of prostate cancer before we start it. Always got to check your PSA for that. And if you feel any lumps or bumps on the prostate when you do your DRE, your rectal, then you do an ultrasound or a CT scan to check to see what's going on with that. Okay, so it does not cause prostate cancer. What causes prostate cancer is estrogen in men, not testosterone. Okay, somebody needs to mute themselves. I'm hearing them. If you want to talk, please talk. If not, just mute. Okay, so now I talked about how people get depressed when their testosterone is low. It's a fact that your sharpness, you remember how your memory was and your mental agility, you know, when your levels are low, you get this feeling of weak, this inner unrest, memory failure. You become like a passive. And you'll notice that with men as they get a little older, 50s, 60s, 70s, they're just not out there ready to go fight the lions and the tigers and the bears anymore. No, I'm just not going to bother with that. Let them go. You know, that's how it gets because it's gone down. It's just been a natural decline. But you see that most older men will take more of a passive role. You can say it's wisdom, but you could also say it's because they don't have that aggression anymore. All right. So, yeah, and low testosterone causes buildup of a peptide that causes aging. So, for all the reasons I'm just saying, we as men need to make sure our levels are restored to a youthful level, not as a teenager, but certainly as someone in their 30s. Okay. Very important, testosterone in the heart. We know that heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. Heart disease comes from high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, obesity, the 4 biggest risk factors of heart disease, as well as smoking, which I don't think too many people are doing that now, but you know, smoking does contribute to heart disease. Doctors in China, they use testosterone to treat heart disease because it's a muscle. The heart is a muscle. So when people have heart failure, they give them testosterone, and guess what? It increases the strength of the heart, the contraction of the heart. So when somebody has acute failure, they can push intravenously testosterone to help those patients who are in heart failure. Heart failure improved in almost 70% of men when they get testosterone. Let me stop there. And I see, John, you're not muted. I'm going to ask you to mute, okay? I'll mute you. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I see now I have 4 men on here, so that's good. The wives calls up their men. This is important. This is
Very, and for your son's health too. Sons, fathers, uncles, everybody.
yeah. All right. That's all right. Call them up. Well, this
Call
will
'em
be on tape, so you guys will be able to see it and share it with. Okay. Let's go back to the. So it's very important for the heart. Okay. Let's look at heart disease. Number 1 cause of death. Besides COVID in the last 2 years, COVID has taken over. But for years, for decades, it's always been heart disease. Cancers are next, injuries, lung disease, AIDS way down here. But look at heart disease, way ahead of everything else. Okay. Diabetes contributes to heart disease. Smoking contributes to heart disease. So these are all kind of tied in some way. Cancer is the 2nd leading cause of death. And this is what these cancer cells, they kind of divide upon each other and form a tumor. And so we need to make sure we are making sure that we are addressing that. The number 1 cancer is lung, and that's from smoking. Primarily, prostate is number 2, even though you hear a lot of men with prostate will get you won't die from prostate cancer oftentimes, because as you get older, like in your 70s, you may get prostate cancer, but it's such a slower growing tumor that it typically don't kill you. Now, when you're younger, say in your 50s and you get prostate cancer, it can be more aggressive, or in your 40s because you're younger. But older people who get cancer, 70s and 80s, it's very slow growing, and they usually just watch it. They don't give you chemo. And, if you get obstructed, they may do a TURP and, allow you to be able to urinate. But it's number 2. Colon cancer is number 3. This one is universally fatal. Almost everybody that gets this, I'd say 90% of people die from pancreatic cancer when you get it. So I'll just discuss, those are the top 4. Lung, number 1, way by a lot, then prostate, then colon. You can get screened for this. You should get screened when you turn 45, and every 10 years after that. If you have polyps, which are precancerous 90% of the time, you want to cut that screening down to 5 years, 3 years, or even 1 year, depending on the histology or the pathology of the polyp. Some are more prone to turn cancerous than others. Chronic lung disease, the 3rd leading cause of death, and this is primarily from smoking. Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, I talked about, high cholesterol. There's a substance in the blood called homocysteine that causes clot, and that this is genetic. Some people have high levels of homocysteine, and it predisposes them to blood clots and heart attacks and strokes. So you always want to ask your doctor, can you check my homocysteine just to see, do I have that genetic predisposition for homocysteine? Fibrinogen, that's in the blood as well. It's a clotting factor. And then there's a marker of inflammation called C-reactive protein that we would also check. But you need somebody that has a preventative mindset. So when you see them, they're looking at all the risk factors that could lead to heart disease. So now when you have heart disease, say you have heart disease as a man, you go to your primary care, he refers you to a cardiologist. They're going to put you on drugs, more drugs. They're going to give you a drug for cholesterol. They're going to give you high blood pressure medicine. They're going to give you drugs to lower your blood sugar. They may put you on a medicine to help fight your weight, amphetamine. They put you on a blood thinner or anti-inflammatory, aspirin and so on. So by the time you're done, cardiologist, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7, 8 medicines that now you're feeling old. And these are the drugs that they just pour on people. Pour and more drugs, pour and more drugs. And I guarantee you, most of the time, they haven't even checked your testosterone to see what's going on in that arena. Say now you've been on drugs for 4 or 5 years, and now you still got a heart attack. They call in the plumber now, the surgeons who wrote a router. They do a cabbage, do an angioplasty. They'll put in stents to open up the blood vessels. If it's in the leg, they do a fempop, or if it's in the neck, they do a carotid endarterectomy. If it's in the heart, they catheterize to see where the blockage are. They do angiograms and all this stuff. And then lifestyle is last. They don't have time to sit down and discuss these things. They may refer you to a nutritionist, but do you really get that intense pressure to change your lifestyle? Or are they just going through the motion, treating your disease? I don't like to treat disease. I like to cure disease. And that's how I always try to tell people. You did something wrong. You didn't feed your body what it wanted. You didn't give it enough activity. You were stressing it out. You were eating poorly. And this is what you got. So TLC, total lifestyle change, is first and foremost, look at what you did. It's correctable. The body will respond to good nutrition, to good activity while you're taking these medicines, but not with the intention of being on it until you die, right? I mean, think about it. Do you want to be on something? How many times have you gone to your doctor, he put you on a high blood pressure pill and you've taken it for 5 years and he says to you, okay, you've taken it for 5 years, you can stop it now. Oh, he'll add another one. Well, maybe you need a beta blocker or a water pill this time. You know, so it's all about how you look at medicine. Should it be a temporary thing to get you through the storm while you get your body right? Or should you be on it for the rest of your life? Or at least bare minimum, 1 or 2 is okay. When you're on 7, 8, 9, look at most seniors. See how they have a bag of medicine that they're taking. Is this our faith? Is this what we have to look forward to when we get in our 70s and 80s? I don't want to have to take anything. I'm 60 something now, and I take nothing. All I take is vitamins, minerals, testosterone, herbs, minerals, exercise, meditation. I try to do all natural. So my approach is integrative medicine, lifestyle change, including managing your stress, nutritional supplementation, physical medicine, mind-body medicine, relaxation techniques, stress management techniques to improve your immune system, prevent disease. Praying is a wonderful medicine, but you got to believe in what you're praying. Deep breathing exercises, detoxification. We talked about that early on in the weight loss program. Get rid of those toxins, live a healthy lifestyle. You'll be much happier than taking 5, 10, 15 medications. So lifestyle and dietary can dramatically reduce the risk of heart disease. It can, eating a diet that's low in salt, sugar for sure, if no sugar at all, no refined sugar. Saturated fats, even when I'm eating an animal product, and I love chicken and turkey and fish, I just don't eat the fat. Don't eat the animal fat. You don't need the fat. When you're doing keto, it's okay to eat the fat, but I don't get into the habit of eating fat. I just try to eat the protein piece, the muscle. Exercise regularly, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I had an in-service for my staff and I told them that, I exercise 5 days a week, and most of the audience, their eyes opened up. I'm not talking about exercising 90 minutes or 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day like an athlete. I'm saying give your body some activity. Walking around with a pen and paper or a laptop is not exercise, especially if you're a man. You need exercise. Our natural abilities really stemmed on us chasing for food, chasing down an animal and wrestling it to the ground and hitting it over the head or whatever. We're not doing that. We go to Kroger and Publix and my favorite is Aldi. We do that now. We're not fighting for food. So we just have to be smart and conscientious about what we're doing and make the time for exercise because it's probably the most important 30 minutes of your day. Avoid excessive drinking. I don't know why we can't do things as men and do it in moderation. We have a party, we gotta put away a 6-pack or a 12-pack. We don't need that. If you're gonna smoke, tobacco products are worse. There are benefits to cannabinoids in terms of stress reduction, well proven. But even that, you want to do it in very, very moderation. CBD. So, and reduce your stress. Right, so it prevents heart disease. You want to eat garlic, onions. They can reduce your cholesterol. Raw nuts, almond, walnuts. Somebody sent me a chart showing that walnuts is at the top of the nut charts. It has more omega-3 than any other nuts. Number 2 was pecan, but it was by far way less than walnuts. Okay. Almonds had no omega-3, which surprised me. But walnuts is high, pecans is next. I use only olive oil and coconut oil. Don't use any of the other oils. A lot of them are hydrogenated oils, and corn oil is not good for you. Salmon, trout, tuna, fish is good. These are oily fish, mackerel and herring, very oily, loaded salmon, loaded with omega-3. Omega-3 protects the brain, it protects the heart, protects your joint. It's a no-brainer. You need to be eating more of that. Lean beef and chicken. So let's get back to this andropause. What do you want to do? Do you want to take the conventional style? They give you this artificial patch, or do you want to use something more bio-identical that your body made? What you guys need to understand is that pharmaceutical companies cannot patent a natural substance. They can patent the way it's delivered, but they can't patent that natural substance. So compounded pharmacists, they have the natural product and they prepare it for you without a brand name. It's not Androderm, it's not, some fancy name. It's just basically testosterone, bioidentical natural testosterone. Never use a synthetic testosterone like danazol or oxatrol. These are all bodybuilding things that cause cancer of the liver and should not be used. I think if you look at all these guys that are like 250 pounds of packed muscle and their arms are so big they can't even wear a suit. Their chest is bulging out and they lift up 500 pounds. I'm not talking that. I'm talking just being healthy and slim and lean. That's what it's about. Not being this massive person walking around like, especially when you're in your 50s and 60s. You just want to be healthy. You want to have enough muscle to still maintain your physique and posture. And you want to see your chiropractor so they can keep you in line. All right, Dr. Ward?
Yes.
So bioidentical hormone is what we use, just natural testosterone. You'll never see me write your prescription for testosterone to go to Walgreens or any of that, because that's all, there's something about it that they sell over there that's not natural. Okay, so We even get the injections that are natural. Normal dose is about 20 to 100 milligrams a day. If you do pellets, you can put them in. They come from soy and wild yam, and it's converted over to look the same way as this. Not patented. I got trained by the founder of Soda Pelly back in 2010. So I've been doing pellets now for 13 years on my patients. And they last for about 6 months, could last for about a year, depending on your metabolism. And the heavier you are, you're going to eat it up. But so the dose depends on your physical state. So most people get between 1,200 and 2,400 when you get pellets. And they look like little brown rice grains. And they're inserted in the skin. It takes about 15 minutes. Some insurances will pay for the pellets, but they pay for a branded pellet called Testapel. I don't use this because there's something about it. That's why they're able to brand it. I use bioidentical pellets. So we build this for patients to see if they pay for it. Otherwise, they end up paying for it. And it can run between $600 and $1,000 for 6 months. It's worth it in my eyes. So once your level goes back up, say you come in, I test you, you're only at 200, 250, and I get you to 600 or 800, you're gonna have better erectile function, better mental function, better mood, better blood flow to the brain. Your memory is gonna improve. It will reduce your risk of heart disease, reduces inflammation, reduces heart failure, reduces your risk of cancer, prostate cancer. And when you get in the gym, you start seeing immediate results within 30 days. All of a sudden, you can build muscle again. It's hard to build muscle when your testosterone is low. So here are my recommendation and the take-home message. You guys can take a picture of this if you want. Give this to your grown son, your husband, your boyfriend, your dad, your uncle, your grandpa. You need to take a good multivitamin, all of us, because our food supply is genetically modified. There's rapid farming. There's not enough nutrients in the food anymore. So you need to protect yourself by taking a good multivitamin, minerals, and herbs. Saw palmetto. Why? Because that's going to help your prostate as you get over 40. Most men will have some swelling of the prostate. This will keep it nice, prevent estrogen from forming. Probiotics, because it's good for the gut. And when we're stressed, that's the first thing that dies out. And then yeast overgrows, bad bacteria like E. coli and Clostridia, those overgrow. We want to take probiotics to keep everything at bay. Omega-3 if you're not eating enough fish, oily fish. Zinc, because zinc stops estrogen production and it strengthens your immune system. DHEA, because DHEA is the precursor to all the other hormones. Arginine is an amino acid. Everything on here is natural. Arginine is an amino acid that causes the blood flow to increase in the area where you need it, primarily the penis. So it increases nitric oxide, which causes good vasodilation, and you can be able to sustain an erection. Exercise 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day, minimally. That's all you can do. I will take it. Prayer, meditate every day. Ask the higher power to make a way for you, and then believe it. Don't stress on it. All right, that's the men's health. You guys got something out of it? Any comments? We have a few minutes for questions. Charlene, you cold?
I have a comment, Dr. Christie.
Yeah.
In the prior 12 weeks Zoom calls, for all of those who didn't attend, he talked a lot about refined carbohydrates and the effect of those refined carbohydrates, those processed foods on the prostate. And I understand that we're all moving, or, the world is moving towards a plant-based this, and, we're going to make it convenient. The problems that we're seeing is that a lot of those substitutes, packaged foods, are coming with palm, canola, and other types of synthetic oils that can create inflammatory processes in the body. So I just want the men to be very mindful, right, of refined foods and the impact on your male endocrine system and your sexual wellness, because they're touted sometimes as very healthy alternatives. And I'm sure Dr. Christie and I can assure you that once you read the label, it's not healthy.
Good point. Good point, Doc. Felicia, you look like you had a question, did you? John, you had any questions for me, buddy?
No, Dr. Ward, not at this time.
No, Dr. Ward or Dr. Christie.
Dr. Christie, sorry.
That's good. I'm just kidding you, man.
Okay.
Hey, Candace and Dion, you guys, did you hear me? Because nobody said anything. I just want to make sure that this message gets through, that men does have a menopause and they need to get it checked if they're over 40. If they're losing their zeal, their oomph, there's a reason. And don't let them put them on an antidepressant or anxiolytic or anything. Get those levels checked.
Yes, very interesting. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm here to help.
Dr. Christie, I had a question for you.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi. Are we going to touch on women health as well?
Absolutely not.
No, that's not going to work.
Next week.
Next week? Okay.
Next week is all about women.
Okay, and that was great. I mean, the men's side was great too, but I know I'm seeing some things that men have available to them, and I want to know
Women
if
are
it's
more
available to us.
complicated. We have one hormone we have to deal with. We got to deal with progesterone, estrogen, DHEA. We got to deal with a lot of stuff when it comes to you guys. So yeah, we'll get into it next week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we'll get into it. Any questions before I make my way? I got patience.
Ladies, don't come back and be like, well, Dr. Rhonda, this is what's going on. Here is the mail that you can address all those concerns
right.
and pass them on to the wonderful men in your life.
Right, and just let them know if you're concerned, just let them go make sure that the doctor that they're seeing, if they're over 40, at least get a hormonal level on them, okay? Not just thyroid. Tell them to check their testosterone. Okay? Takeaway message. And keep that belly fat down. Right, Charlene?
Yes. I have a question.
You do.
I do.
Go ahead.
Is there any way you can email me, or can I go to the Hayville Clinic to get the paperwork on those different injections you were talking about, so I can read and understand them? And see which ones are more suitable for me.
Can you come in just for the consult? Can you come? I mean, if you do a consult, for the weight loss, it's free. Because I'm doing this whole thing free. The only thing you have to pay for the detox and the supplements. But all of that, you get your body fat analysis for free. The book is free. Yeah.
I have that. Okay. So
we'll explain all those injections as well.
Okay,
yeah, I thought I did before, but I'll go over it again. Not right now, but I can do that again in this platform.
Okay. I might have missed one of those calls.
Yeah, you might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always come in. We'll just do that for you. Just tell me here about the 12 weeks and we get you on.
Do I come up there or do I go to Hayville?
No, you'd have to come here. You want to speak to
Have
the
to come
horse.
Who's the horse? Okay.
Oh,
Okay, horse.
one of my proteges usually. I don't usually do the BIA, they do.
Okay, so I'll call and make an appointment for that.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Asia, you're good? Miss Dr. Ote, you're good? All right. You guys, I'll see you next week. Stephanie, can you tell them when the lecture is next week so we can get more people at the start? We ended up with 15, but you know, it took a while to get that, and I'm sure people missed a lot of it. So we will send out this tape lecture so you can look at it, let your husband look at it, let your significant other look at it. And, you know, the more you watch it is the more you'll get out of it.
One question, is there like a access code, a password to look at previous?
Yeah, in every email, there's the access code or the passcode is written in that email. So when before you click on the link, write the access code down because it's right below it. You just take that access code, click on the link, then you type it in, and it comes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, real quick. So for clarity, that's how I can go back and see what I missed from the beginning. Just go into the email that you were in now and click
Yeah.
on that link. Okay.
Yeah. Did you register for the 12 weeks? Because we have about 60 people or so that's registered and they get the link every week. If you
No.
didn't register, just go on the site, go on the website, ANWANwellness.com, and fill out that little quick registration form. And then Stephanie will have that information. Stephanie, are you there? Or are you out of the room? No, she's not answering, so I guess she's on her way. We have patients now, so.
Okay.
Gotta go.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I'll tell you, Dr. Oakdale. I'll talk to you later about that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
You guys have
bye.
a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next week. I think it's
Mhm.
Thursday.
Be
Okay.
well, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you Friday.
Thank you.
All right.